Hello fellow splicers! Have you ever wondered how Splice Machine connects with Microstrategy? Let's see how. We are going to see today how we can integrate Microstrategy with Splice Machine. Now this is a standard Microstrategy iServer install, and you would be, let me list down the contents, and you would be able to see that everything which is there in Microstrategy iServer installed here. To get the odbc.ini populated, what you would have to do is first you would have to follow the directions given in the doc.splicemachine.com. We have a very good documentation of how you can configure drivers. Now this is good for CentOS and RHEL or any other flavor of Linux. So this is for Windows, and this is the flavor for Linux. So it's compatible with most RHEL versions and CentOS versions according to our internal tests. You would be able to download the drivers from here. It will be a tar and a zip file, and you should be able to install from here. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. What you'd have to do after you untar that file, you would have to set up everything in the etc folder. However, just make sure that the only thing that you actually need is the libsplice odbc.so. It's a C++ compiled code. So you would be able to get that, and once you know the location of that code, you would be able to work with it. So going forward with what you need, once the installation is done, you can do some log tracing, etc. But eventually, this is what you would be requiring. You would be having a MicroStrategy driver installed here, and you would have to point towards this libsplice_odbc.so file. That's the lib file that you would be requiring. For me, I haven't changed anything. I've just kept it where the install was. And finally, let's come out of here. After coming out from here, you would be able to do the same thing for the ODBC driver inside Windows machine as well. It's pretty self-explanatory, and once you do the install mentioned in these steps, once you download the drivers from here, the same setup you would have to do here, and you would be able to see the configure Splice machine here as well. Now, I have done the very same thing here. You would be able to see this test connection. In this particular install, once I have MicroStrategy here, what I have done is it is connecting to our own installation 115 server, which is a CentOS install. And what we have done basically is, if you go to system database instances, you would be able to go under Splice machine. That's a database instance we have made, and you would have to use the generic DBMS. Now we are working with MicroStrategy to get our database in the drop-down, so you would be able to see Splice machine very soon here. Coming back to database connection here, you would be able to see that in the connection we have just these two which has been specified. That's the metadata, and this is the ODBC64, which is the driver that we have just installed. The Splice login would be here. You would be putting in the user ID and password which you have given, and finally you can actually configure this to the project. Whatever projects you have got, you can actually configure it here. Now one important thing which I have done is, you would be able to see that in the table qualifier I have put in a global temporary space. What happens here is, if you have a multipass query, all these tables are going to be created in the global temporary space in Splice machine. So that's a very good thing to have in long run. Now going towards the warehouse catalog. So if you go to warehouse catalog here, you would be able to see that under options, under read settings, if you go under settings, I have actually gone ahead and selected a particular database name, the table space name, and from sys.systables. This is a catalog of tables which is there. And you can actually put in your schema ID, whatever you own or whatever you would like to put, or you can just not have it and you'd be able to get all the sys tables as well. The same thing goes for all the columns as well. You would be able to see all the columns listed with the same query. I'll just run through this really quickly. And pretty much what I have done in the read settings in the view settings, is that I can actually put in the default prefix. On my implementation, I had this particular prefix, so I didn't have to do it all over again. Going back to the Splice machine, you would be able to see all the data, etc., whichever is there. You can see the sample data. This is probably a one column table. Yeah, it's a one column table, and you would be able to see all the data coming from Splice machine. Going back to the final query, you can build attributes, metrics on top of it. I also created 2 attributes, or 3 attributes in this case, and 1 fact and 1 metric, although you would be following practical MicroStrategy conventions and put your attributes in attributes schema ID folder, etc. But for ease of use, I've just done this way. Okay, so you can actually run this report. This report is going to hit the Splice machine database with the Splice login, and there's a very simple query, not a too complex one. And as you go to the grid view, you would be able to see all the data being populated. So that's pretty much it with MicroStrategy integration with Splice machine. Hope you have a nice time and enjoy with the integration with Splice machine. Thank you.